And I'm gonna write up that article for us.
We're
That's
live.
exciting.
Boy.
Right, everybody stand by. I'm gonna write silently to myself.
Okay.
Awesome. So Crystal was the god amongst us.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Seriously.
As per usual, Crystal will also be working during our stream.
As she is wont to do. Hello, everybody. It's your Moom Ammo coming to you live. Look at everybody hanging out, having conversations without us.
Oh,
No, that's so rude.
conversations without us.
I know.
That's my autobiography.
I've never.
We got Zappy, we got a Pook. AJ Real is here. Alien Queen Mina. Nice to see you. Claude is here. Walking amongst us mere mortals.
We should be playing What If God Was One of Us.
Yes.
Right. Couldn't afford the
Now
right.
it's when the clods are among us.
What if God was one of us? Just a stranger on the bus. That's my singing voice.
All right, we can call it that, I guess.
Jonesy, good to see you too.
Steve
So,
came back
in
sassy from break.
What was that?
So Steve came back sassy from break.
We should make Steve take more breaks.
You know,
That's
Sean Duggan.
with podcasting.
Yeah.
When a Sean comes in with joyous noise, you know something's going right.
Right?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say when a Sean comes in with an itty bitty waist.
Oh,
Are we allowed to get sprung on this podcast?
yes, we are. Yes,
I like big Sean's, and I cannot lie.
Right?
that's right. Dugan got back. Let's see. Alien Queen Minds has been getting really into the game lately. Actually, got Hero Lab. Nice, been a real help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
you're
great
right.
resource.
Huge help for keeping the math straight.
Okay, Claude says that Claude has done some research today, and they're ready. Hey, we've got
Alright.
two. Oh, both the Seans are here.
Now we got a pair of Sean's, too.
A pair of Seans.
Shit, pair of Sean's beats everything.
That's right.
Mm.
True that.
Claude just got Rockadoodle stuck in my head.
Claude says this Sean size. God, what is wrong with me? The Sean shines down on us today. I'm just like, the Sean.
Sean do shine.
Beautiful day. The Sean is shining.
The Sean is shining in the sky. You know, when gods are among us is the topic today. And, you know, every Moom Ammo, we bring the gods to you. And here they are.
I keep telling you, Troy, you're not a god, you're just disembodied.
That's right. I'm
Right.
just
A narrator.
We
an
will be discussing the distinction.
You're omniscient, not omnipotent.
Oh, I always forget that. By the way, trademark Troy 2022 omnipotentastic. Omnipotentastic.
I don't think you're getting a lot of challenges on that one.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, if you have to tell somebody you're omnipotent, you're probably not omnipotent.
Mhm.
true. Very true.
Yeah.
You know, before we begin, I'm going to go ahead and just take this future pop down all the way down. We've got some news.
Mhm.
Some big news that we're
We do.
announcing. Well, we're not announcing it here first. In actuality, we announced it to the Patreon first because, you know, the Patreon
Mhm.
as a design partner in this project that I'm about to talk about is, you know, if you were a member of the Patreon, you would get a Patreon copy of this gratis. Like, you just get a PDF with all your hard
Gratis.
work. So our thanks to everybody on the Patreon for keeping that secret. Until Sean, of course, came in and blew the cover. No, I'm kidding. Not again. But it is this. It's the guide to Starhaven. Now,
It
this is
out.
Yeah, it's out. It is
It's
out.
real.
It's available now. A tweet
Yes.
is forthcoming. It is $14.95 in our store, and it essentially is basically a whole new world. Would you say?
Yeah, a new
Literally.
horizon.
Whole new moon, at least.
Yeah,
Right. Hey, Moon's a world.
sure. Why not? Why not?
Counts.
No one to tell us no or where to go.
That's right. Right. This is Mumamo. We can go anywhere, say anything, do anything, be anyone.
Although stay away from the shining, shimmering parts because those are the dangerous parts of Starhaven.
Mhm.
And Mumamo. Let's talk a little
Unfortunately,
bit about
players are
like,
not
the
known for
genesis
being
of
able to
it.
stay away from shiny parts.
Was that a kid? Sorry, Steve.
Players are not known for their ability to stay away from shiny things.
No, and developers are not known for their keeping the shiny things away from players, which is evident in this adventure or this setting, this source book. Now, Alex, did you want to talk a little bit about the sort of the origin of this as we kind of describe,
It's really all
and then we
Alex's
can kind of.
fault.
Yeah.
What was that?
This is kind of my fault, isn't it?
This is
It
all
really
your
is.
fault, Alex.
So we got the idea to do a Starhaven source book after I asked Steve and Crystal, "Hey, there's a paragraph about Starhaven in the Cosmic Handbook. What's that about?" And they said, "This paragraph is what it's about."
Right.
Because I wanted to do an actual play adventure on our channel involving Starhaven because I thought it was such a unique concept and such a cool thing for us to tap into. And we did that live play in February last year, and the audience had a big reaction to it. So we decided to do the Summer of Starhaven, and now Summer of Starhaven Part 2, the book is actually out.
Yeah.
That's right.
See? Yeah, it's still summer of Starhaven. It's always summer when
Right.
you're at Starhaven.
That's right. That's right. And so
Temperature control.
the patrons, with a little help from our friends here at Mumamo, but we had the patrons. They contributed votes for who runs Starhaven. They helped design creatures. They really were a big part of making this happen, and they were also
Couldn't happen
infinitely
without
patient
them.
as we worked on it.
So yeah.
And so, yeah.
Look at
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry.
It's got a whole adventure in the back, written by Alex, the original cause, the patient zero of Starhaven, if you will.
Mhm.
It's great. It looks great. It's phenomenal. It is. There are so many new things that it introduces. We've got, I'm trying to remember which one. I'm trying to think of my favorite kind of alien that I'm acquainted with for the first time, because they may have been around for a while. But is Starhaven where we've got old mommy Bubbleback?
Mama Kiger.
I'm a bubbleback.
That's right. I'm a Mama Bubbleback.
Yeah.
It's
Don't-
old Mama Bubbleback.
Don't say that anywhere where she can hear you, Troy.
That's right. Now she pops out little sisters, right?
Yeah, her literal sisters,
Ooh.
and that she's got the ability to clone herself in little cysts on her back.
Yick. Now I can't get her out of my head, but there's a whole other slew of characters, alien and otherwise.
Mama Kiger has a summer place rent free in Troy's disembodied head.
Seriously, it's always the summer of Mama Kiger in my.
It's the red gown, isn't it?
It is. It's so
It
alluring.
is. It is.
Which is really impressive because Pupil's got the crab claw nipples. I figured that would stick into
Mm-mm.
Troy's head.
No,
Troy's used
no.
to crabs on his nipples.
Right.
Slowly
That's old.
gaining space now that I really think about it. So I thank you. I thank you for that. So that's what you have to look forward to. Starhaven is really a focus on a creature that pops out little sisters from her back, and a creature with crab claw nipples.
Alien Queen Mina, the organizations you are looking for are in the Cosmic Handbook, where you can find the Order of the Star Knights, as well as their rivals, the Argents and the Blackguard, 3 space-spanning organizations that are all locked in a struggle for the future of order in the cosmos.
There you go. Yes, and Klotz says the adventure in the back is awesome, Alex. It truly is.
I'm glad you like it. I ran it at Origins, and I'm running it at Gen Con if there are people who want to come and play with me.
Ooh, nice.
Turns out it's not a one-session adventure, but we made it work.
That's a selling point, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 2-session adventure minimum.
You could probably get like 3 or 4 out of it.
Oh, easily.
Mm-hmm.
Throw in some
Really?
extra
Sure.
confrontations with other villains. Add some
Right.
Captain Kraken in there, as everyone should.
As right, indeed.
Mhm.
So I've dropped
Everything
a
is improved with Captain Kraken.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Everything's cracking with
Better
Captain
with
Kraken.
cephalopirates.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is this the robots?
Captain
Yeah.
Kraken had the robots in the adventure.
As
that I ran
robot
on stream.
pirates. Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Calvison's not being a one-session adventure is a good thing in this context. Absolutely. Let's see here. So I have.
He says in this context because I always run one-shots on our streaming channel, and they never wind up being one-shots.
Mm-hmm.
More of some shots.
Yeah, it's more like a 1.5 shot. Or
Yeah. I
Nice.
mean, how long did the 5-part Netherwar adventure end up being?
53 weeks, but I wasn't counting.
That's theoretically supposed to be, 5 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say 53 weeks?
Yeah, it was 53 3-hour sessions is
Yeah.
how long Netherwar took us.
That is
Right.
amazing. I definitely loved watching the episodes that I could watch or the streams that I could watch. And it's on demand, right? People can
It
go
is on
back and
demand. It's on YouTube
Yeah.
on Untold Stories Project. We're
Nice.
actually almost done with our 36-week Emerald City Knights campaign.
Ooh.
Nice. Very exciting. Well, so just for folks that are interested in a little more detail, we've got, what is this, 76 pages. It's a full color PDF. Now, people may lament that we are selling the PDF and we're not doing the print thing, but we are doing print on demand at DriveThruRPG.
Mhm.
And you can pick
Yes,
that
we
up
are.
there. I'll provide a link here shortly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I just gotta say, Drive-Thru has really stepped up their print-on-demand game. I'm impressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Truly.
absolutely.
truly good stuff. Very, very high quality. We even have a video that we'll share. Maybe not on this particular program, but it will be available online on our socials. And again, just a super shout out to our friends on the Patreon. Really had a lot of fun putting this stuff together, and very, very happy that that everyone appreciated getting their copy posted to the Patreon. So yeah, for that, you are all welcome. Let's see. So today we're talking about gods.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And so let's gods in the context of what? Because our last discussion was around the pact, right? We talked a little bit about, so this is like the gods have made it through. Somehow they're here, and
Some of them have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They do from time to time.
Yeah, from time to time.
They pop down.
I mean, they're just very popular in comic books in general because they tend to be copyright free.
Right?
Right.
It's basically free advertising. If you name a character Thor or Hercules, everybody already kind of knows who that is. So, it's all the name recognition of Sherlock Holmes without having to pay the Arthur Conan Doyle estate a dime.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's also, these are compelling characters, sort of beings that we have, like,
sure,
eons of lore about, and really with a whole collection. I mean, really, how many? When you think of the gods, like your favorite set of gods, for amongst the three of you, what are your favorites?
I'm once again here to say that Hades has been wrongfully maligned.
I was waiting for that.
I think
Alex is here for the Shitonic gods of all kinds.
I think we're all super familiar with the Greek/Roman gods because that's what gets taught in, English-speaking schools.
Indeed.
I mean, I really love the Celtic gods because you don't fuck with them.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many interesting cultural mythologies to draw upon. And, the great thing about cultural myths about gods and, great hero figures and all of that is they just dovetail beautifully with the superhero genre, because a lot of the ancient myths were basically about sort of the first superheroes, essentially about larger than life characters who had amazing powers and did great deeds and all of that. So they fit really well into the comic book superhero genre, as seen by the fact that comic books have been using gods as characters for 70 plus years now.
Love it. What is your recommendation? So one of the things about omnipotence is that it's so omnipotent.
Well, that's the thing, is most of the mythic deities that we're talking about actually aren't omnipotent. They're often very, very powerful and superhuman, which works great in the context of Mutants and Masterminds. But most of them have very defined limits on their powers. They have particular portfolios or things in the world that they are in charge of or have some control over. But because of there are usually polytheistic pantheons where there's more than one god, they are sharing power to one degree or another, and nobody has sheer omnipotence as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And they're usually very fallible and petty and human and just bisexual disasters, and I love all of them.
Again, you're just thinking about the Greek gods. But
I think the Norse gods fall into that category too.
All right, that's fair. But yeah, if you're going to use gods in your own superhero campaign, it's really important to come in thinking about, like, what are gods in your world? Like, are they literally incredibly powerful divine beings who embody some concept like thunder or war or weaving? Or are they, just incredibly powerful aliens who, have visited Earth in the past, so we've got some recognition of them and older societies worshipped them? Are they something else entirely? There was a great Futurama episode where aliens visited Earth in the ancient past of Egypt and learned all about Egypt and how great it was and brought it back to their culture to be Egyptian. I've always loved the idea of powerful aliens visiting Earth, thinking our mythology is neat, and basically rebuilding their pop culture around it, so that when gods come back to Earth in 2,000 years, they're like, I'm totally Thoth, and I'm not just some weird pretender cosplaying as Thoth. I'm actually Thoth. Don't dig too deeply.
I want to see that happen to Elvis impersonators in 2,000 years from now.
Right. And they all have to fight for it. Hey, I hear that there's some challenges over on the Facebook video feed, and I wish I had some powers. My godly might, which it's really just a sprightly mist, does not extend to making that work for you. Very sorry to hear that, but you can check us out on YouTube as well. And I will make sure that you get. Was that Crystal?
Oh, and we're on Twitch.
And we yeah, that's right. We are on Twitch as well. That is absolutely the truth. But here,
and Crystal makes a really good point about giving some thought as to what exactly the gods are in your Mutants and Masterminds setting. They could be super alien beings, or they might be human mutants from the dawn of time, or spirits from the world of the imagination, or any number of other things as far as how you want to define them. Or different pantheons could be different things as far as that goes.
Yeah. The old 90s series Gargoyles, not to keep harping on Gargoyles, had this neat angle where the gods were all basically powerful fae. Just, wandered the world kind of having fun with humans.
We're going to need a Mutants Masterminds Monday bingo card.
I think so. That's funny, Alex. That is such a funny
Right.
idea.
Gargoyles.
Mentioned gargoyles.
Alex defended Hades.
Right.
Alex loads his live stream.
Right.
Steve blushes.
Steve gets progressively younger over the course of an hour.
Crystal
Claude
brings
says
up a good point
gargoyles
talking
first
about
book win.
the Fae too, because one of the things when you're also defining what the gods are in your setting, it's also deciding where that dividing line is in terms of other weird magical beings, and are they gods or sort of related to the gods or just in something else altogether?
Because with Irish mythology, there isn't really a distinction between fae and gods and spirits.
Mhm.
They're all sort of
Right.
the same general area.
Gotcha. Now, did we decide that or is it canon that the pact impacts the Fae and gods, or are the Fae small enough to kind of get through the net?
More that it affects every sort of extra dimensional magical thing, but it's the more powerful you are, the more influence it has.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
Which is why
A little minor Fae, tend to kind of slip through.
Listen, Claude.
Because they're tricky.
Right. Yeah. So everyone's fast creating the bingo card.
Mm-hmm.
I
Which
like
cracks
the
me up.
suggestion of Gargoyle's sourcebook when, because over on my Patreon, I started tinkering with different ideas for a Mutants and Masterminds Gargoyle's sourcebook.
Nice.
Mm. And where can everyone find that, Crystal?
Well, I don't want to plug it because I had to pause my Patreon.
Okay. Gotcha. So
because lots of things kept happening.
Yes, indeed.
Gotcha. And you're, it is probably not incredibly difficult to find, the Patreon where one to, want to engage with that when it was roaring and ready to go. But like most Mumamos, we start talking about stuff and you just never know. Like your suggestions really do. You could end up with a whole, new sort of supplement, much like Starhaven. Let's see. Let's get some folks here. So Alien Queen Mina says, I've always found characters who are like a walking pantheon very interesting. Usually I'd run it as an array, though I'm always open to ideas. So let's talk about constructing gods.
Yeah, that's how I build Shazam. Since Shazam has all those powers of the different gods, I usually build that as an array.
Alien Queen Mina says, think like Shazam.
There you go. See, great minds.
Right.
Oh, we lost Crystal. Oh no.
We're
Said
abandoned.
the magic word.
Oh, we shouldn't have said Shazam. That was our bad.
That was
Right. Stop saying it.
I'm actually like Captain Marvel Jr., though. I've got to say Crystal Frasier to get my powers.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's right. That's exactly right. Sean Vieira says, so will Dr. Corgi appearing be part of the M&M Monday bingo? Yes.
Well, yeah.
Stan Crystal must have hit bingo.
That's a given. Stan cartoon should also be on the, bingo card.
Yes, it should be. Yes.
I
like it. All right, let me scroll back here. I want to make sure that we're Abel's mentioning that immortality is misspelled as immorality, which is perfect for the Greek gods.
That's for the Greek pantheon. It's still accurate.
It's very accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, the gods are immortal or immoral.
Mm-hmm. It was also pointed out that the Greek deity template costs 69 points, so you're welcome.
Nice.
Wink.
So kind of getting back on track. You should also figure out going in, like, are your gods, like, what's the power level of gods in your campaign? Earth Prime are about PL 15 for, decently powerful gods, and descending for demigods and things like that. So, but you might have it in your campaign where they are all PLX, and the only way to beat them is to find weird narrative hooks, or it might be that the gods were impressive back in 800 BC when they first got their powers, but now they're the equivalent of like PL8 and not that impressive, which is why they tend to hide away.
Well, that leads to the interesting question about gods in various settings: is where does worship come in?
Yeah.
Do gods derive their power from people's belief in them, or people's active worship of them, or is that just something humans do and it's not actually that important to the god's existence overall? That's a kind of important decision to make about your setting, because it really affects what the gods are like and what their motivations are in terms of continuing to spread their cults and be worshipped, as far as that goes.
Yeah,
I really like the notion of gods needing worship to have power.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how it works in the Titan City universe. Is the gods are only as powerful as the amount of people that can get to believe in them.
Right. And do you find, Alex, that sort of derives the gods' motivations as far as what their schemes are and what their plans are?
Mm-hmm. And they try to find ways to like trick the worship thing. Spoiler alert for my next book, but Zeus is running for mayor of Titan City on the platform of I believe in Zachary Swan. So everybody keeps saying this, and he starts building up this momentum.
That's
and
terrible.
Who's Zachary Swan?
That's his incognito name is Zachary Swan.
Subtle.
Real subtle.
Real subtle.
But like Hera in my universe has the Amazons as a consistent source of belief in her. So she's always got some powers that she's willing to recycle into her warriors.
There is a great graphic novel out there called God Shaper by Simon Spurrier, where worship is basically cash that can only be accepted, exchanged by gods.
I like that.
The entire economy is basically prayer-based. So it doesn't necessarily give the gods more power. It just lets them like reshuffle their features. And it's otherwise just, cash for buying luxury and comfort.
Right. Interesting.
A little bit that notion of you're as strong as your followers reminds me of American Gods.
Yeah.
Another particular interpretation of gods.
Yeah.
American Gods tends to take the approach that gods are living stories, essentially. And that tends to create the interesting effect that every version of a god is real, to one degree or another. So it's not just, about, Odin as a real god, but also about Wotan as a real god. And all the other versions of Odin are real gods.
Anthony Hopkins' Odin is a real god.
Right. So it gets particularly interesting in that regard. And it's something to also consider because of the crossovers of cultures in in the real world of, thinking about things like, are the Greek and Roman pantheons separate deities? Is Poseidon and Neptune two different guys? Or is they just the same god with different names?
I hadn't thought about them being different dudes and always competing for... No, actually, I'm the one who did that, not him.
Right. No, that was me.
Right. I think they even had
Atlantis. It's like, no, it's that other guy. He's crazy.
Right. He's a real problem.
We don't talk about him.
You should worship me.
Quit bringing up Old Testament God, okay? He's not chill.
Although it raises the question, is Disney Zeus a different deity than actual Zeus? Because he's a
Disney Zeus is propaganda.
But for who?
Zeusist propaganda.
Zeusist. I definitely, I enjoy. I'm not sure if anyone's watched the series American Gods. It's pretty good. It's pretty out there, but they do a really great job of sort of illustrating all of this stuff, and it's fun to watch. I thought, if I remember, were there like I think there were multiple Jizai.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds like him.
Gene says, Gene, it's so good to see you and so glad to hear that you thought danger zones were grite, which is
Griati.
griate. Yeah. Really, really glad that you enjoyed that. And I was actually going to go out of my way to find you, Gene, because I know that you were very, very much looking forward to this. So Claude says, the Zeuses will rue the day they messed with the Hadesians. Hadesians. Am I saying that right?
Hadesian sounds like a Star Trek.
Hadesians.
It does, kind of, doesn't it? Yeah. First contact.
Yeah, one thing I'd love to bring up is you also need to decide if you're dealing with the authentic gods or just a bunch of jerks in costumes.
Right.
One of the things probably the only thing I really loved in Palladium books is Pantheons of the Megaverse, which is a big monster manual full of stats for gods. Is for every pantheon, they statted out the real gods and then like high-level impersonators who were using like the gods' themes or reputation for whatever. So like the false Olympians were basically like a high-powered group of mercenaries who stumbled into a world that couldn't stand up to them under any circumstances. And so they just called themselves Zeus and Jupiter and Hera, and basically just took up residence as gods, even though they have no magical power. They're just like powerful cyborgs and psychics and things like that.
I love it.
Yeah, that's great.
I like this. Love Crystal's actual play. It will make a great, astonishing adventure. I see what you're doing, Gene.
It was a fun time.
Yeah, super fun. Okay, so
I got
now
to be a bully for 4 hours. It was pretty great.
pretty much.
Bullying people, but I rarely let him.
So interesting. Alien Queen Mine, Alien Queen Mine. Y'all about to make me run a game with players all being given temporary god power because all the great gods got evicted.
Yep.
Clever.
That's a fun campaign idea where
Yeah, totally.
the gods all get either killed or evicted and they get replaced by mortals, by whoever designates who's the god of what.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
a great built-in group of heroes and villains right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I just so thinking about other clever ways. One of the challenges, given how powerful gods are, and the necessity to create some fallibility in those gods. How do you sort of maintain the godliness while keeping them within the realm of attainability when it comes to conflict? If there is a conflict, I mean, I suppose you could have a god appear without one.
The mythical gods are all super fallible, so
Right.
that's not usually a problem.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to be fighting the Norse gods, just bring a spear made out of, was it holly?
Yes.
Mistletoe for Balder.
Ah.
Sorry, too soon?
Right.
Yeah. December isn't until what? What is this month? I have no idea what day it is.
July.
Let's see here.
It's
It's
July
7-Eleven.
Let's
7-Eleven, everybody.
Yes,
7-Eleven.
the most convenient date.
Slurpees for everyone. I do like a Slurpee. Let's see. Yeah, Cole. Yeah. So what are some of the we kind of talked a little bit about the Fae sort of what they're susceptible to. I think who was it? Steve, you mentioned mistletoe for Balder.
Yeah, that's the one cheat to his invulnerability, basically.
Basically, with any powerful threat you want to figure out early on, like what is the Achilles heel? What is the angle that makes this character approachable by player characters? So, if you're dealing with like a godlike computer, then, does it have a kill command somewhere that, one programmer added, when of this was just a nascent little search engine, or, if it's gods, is there some mythical, magical weakness they have?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like that, RC. Troy, it's September already. You slept through Gen Con. No, I did not. Speaking of Gen Con, we're all going to be there.
Yeah, right?
I'm looking forward to
assuming
that.
my flight doesn't get canceled.
Truth,
Well,
right? Yeah.
That's, for any of us at this point with air travel being what it is.
And hopefully my hair will be updated by then. We'll see.
Mine too.
Depends on my poor
Right.
hairdresser. But it's just this drab brown these days. Nobody's going to recognize me.
I might
No.
even fill up a whole human body.
What?
Ew.
I know.
That sounds
I know.
invasive.
I'll just be this sort of weird,
Oh.
puffy, floating
Mhm.
Oh,
skin
God.
suit.
That wet sort of flapping sound.
That's right.
Mhm. Right.
You know, like the one I like
And
to
keep-
make.
Pins and sharp objects away from Troy in that case.
That's right. You stab me, and I'll just fart my way out the window, and off I go in the breeze.
What happens to
Um,
the body? Does it explode or just deflate?
It just sort of runs
Depends-
out of air and then slaps.
Depends
to
on
the
how big the
ground.
cut is.
Neat
Hmm.
sounds.
That's true.
Depends on if
quickly I
Eric
can
Kripke's
catch it.
directing.
Right. And whether or not Troy has just had lunch.
Oh, right. That is so true. But suffice to say, you don't want to be around. It's a mess either way.
Mhm.
So I thought about the notion of creating, your own god, some unique sort of expression of a deity in your world. How would you go about?
For the
doing
last
that?
time, Troy, Gravy Squatch is not a god.
I
God.
love him. No.
I think if enough people believe in Gravy Squatch.
A way of life,
No
perhaps.
such thing as Gravy Squatch. He can't hurt you.
I just want some gravy goodness. Because yes, the thing about Gravy Squatch is so nice is that once a year he comes into while you're sleeping, fills your mouth full of gravy, and a
Right.
little dab in each
You
ear.
hang your Ziploc bag up by the.
That sounds like actual
Art.
Stop trying to make Stan art happen.
I need a minute.
Let us see. Have you accepted Gravy Squatch into your
Gra-
heart? Thank you.
Gravy
Oprah.
Squatch finds his way into your heart one way or another.
That's-
Usually in your
that's
heart.
where the cholesterol settles.
That's
Yeah, he
exactly
closes the
right.
door behind him.
oh, Gravy Squatch, we love you.
Mhm.
No, we don't.
No,
It's just
imagine
you,
that
Troy.
it was another
right, just you.
sauce-based deity.
Mhm.
What? Walk us through a little bit of sort of the thought process behind the creation of a unique god.
Well, you usually want to figure out, like I said, what power level gods are in your world.
Mhm.
And then some of the basics are things like you want to give them immortality, so immunity to aging, probably some level of regeneration or the immortality power.
Mhm. If they literally can't be killed.
I love this.
Killable your character is.
Given the international nature of Gravy Squatch, Canadians leave out fries and cheese for Gravy Squatch, says Calvin. Thank you, Calvin, for sharing that.
Yeah, in the South, we leave out chicken fried steak.
Yummy.
Or biscuits.
In Columbus,
Oh.
I sat on my porch with a gun and told him to stay away from me.
And then you fall asleep on the porch and wake up with a mouthful of gravy. Claude asks, we about to crowdsource a god? Why not? I mean, Gravy Squatch already having been existed, like there's a Gravy Squatch already, so we have to do something different.
The chat is not going to trick us into making them a god that way.
Nice try, Claude.
Stop asking.
Right. Nice try, but no.
But yeah, you want to figure out what your god is the god of. Most but not all pantheons, like gods, have specific purviews and powers. Like
Mhm.
Thor was theoretically the god of the heavens and the sky and thunder and things that happened in the sky, like golden showers. I don't understand it either. Bulls?
Mm.
Uh,
Voles? Like the little rodent?
no, bull.
Oh, bull.
not voles.
I thought you said voles. Like,
Oh, no.
look,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
gods
They come
here.
from the sky, Troy. You know
I
how
wouldn't put it
sometimes
past
you're
Zeus.
wandering around and voles fall out of the sky?
Right. That's when
Right.
you know the gods have
Oh,
arrived.
rain of voles.
But yeah, pick out what their concept is, and then you
Mhm.
maybe want to figure out who worships them, who worshipped them once upon a time. Are they brand new? Do they have any kind of cult or church or followers on
Mhm.
Earth who would, invoke their power or draw them to Earth?
Right. Particularly important when we're talking about the Earth Prime setting in the Pact.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like the Pact, when you're doing your setting development, it's the question of, so if the gods do exist, where are they and why aren't they interfering all the time?
Yeah. Could be fun to have, somebody try to get around the pact by building a church to kind of create a new god.
Mm-hmm.
Have in Freedom City.
Right. Be like, I'm sorry, I came after the Pact. I can't, be bound by that agreement.
That did come up in the Pact episode, Steve. We were like, if you become so powerful, does the Pact just yeet you out of existence?
I don't know. That's an interesting question.
An interesting loophole.
We
let's see this. So RC Baylor says, I'm still figuring out the details, but I introduced an Atlantean god recently who is a cosmic being that imbued them with their water-breathing moved Atlantis. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hear me out. The Pinnacle Path creates a superhero god, a god of superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
So not bound by the Pact, because native to
Right.
and specifically his or her super abilities relate to granting or taking away superpowers.
Right.
I like
That
it.
sounds messy.
And when your characters are all technically under that god's purview, how do they defeat them?
That sounds like you need to get some other gods to come through, like to find some wiggle room in the Pact to come get this guy and take him to the other side.
Yeah, that's a good excuse to have your powers taken away and need to find a new source of superpowers that aren't based on being superheroes.
Right.
I like it. Let's see. RC adds, I love the idea of helping a villain who is almost at god status to get a bit more powerful so that the Pact kicks in to remove them.
That's a classic superhero cheat of, getting the villain whose apotheosis plan is that close to succeeding and going, okay, we'll help you.
I wish to be an all-powerful genie.
Right?
Not too far.
Tiny living space.
I like that. Yeah, Claude says X-Men's Rogue as a god.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be a great little campaign arc to run with, where the Pinnacle Path, has been around for a while, but they keep becoming more and more influential, and they're signing on like superheroic members to act as like clergy or spokespeople. It becomes the Scientology of the superhuman world, and then bam, they reach a critical mass and create their own god.
Gene brings up a very interesting concept: alien gods.
Yes.
Yeah.
Depending on what you've decided gods are, considering there's all sorts of other life in the universe.
I mean,
do
basically,
they have gods?
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. It's really, it sort of lends a really nice sort of texture to the discussion of gods and how, it would be really interesting to get a report of an alien god and how does that working and sort of, it walk down the same path of, what happens and where they are, are they...
Right.
It's Final Fantasy IX, too. It happens a lot in Final Fantasy.
That's right. It does.
It'd be kind of interesting to see the like Earth gods freak out when the heroes tell them the alien gods are coming, and like they all stop their scheming and their infighting. And they're like, okay, this is a problem. We need to work together with you.
I like that a lot. Let's see.
Nobody's happy when Cthulhu shows up to the family reunion.
Nope.
Oh no, yeah.
On Earth, and they're like, "You guys got to get your crap together."
Jonesy says old gods of the lower republic.
Mm.
Yeah. The Claude says the pinnacle path could pinnacle path could pick a pickle could have someone who just siphons a small bit of power from their superheroic members, but it adds up quickly into a full-blown god. Yeah.
Could just be the pinnacle path was founded by, the god of superheroes that was created spontaneously by the universe when superheroes became a concept, but they've not had much power for the last, 50 years.
Yeah. I love the idea of a concept reaching critical mass to the point that it gets assigned a god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're the god of social media now, and the person who just gets assigned that is like, why?
Well, especially the interplay between the growth of a concept and the growth of a god, of the gamble of when do you buy in on a concept, like I became the god of Betamax too soon, like that was a mistake.
Exactly. I'm the god of pagers. What?
Right. I had my heyday, but damn you, god of Wi-Fi.
I like to think that the god of 15 seconds of fame found the loophole.
Hey, a quick shout out to Rev Brian. Hello to you, my friend. Glad you could join us.
Yeah, and Claude points out that Bowman's eventual apotheosis is essentially inevitable.
Put that on the bingo sheet.
I
Someone
feel
mentioned
like
Bowman.
Telegraphed it ahead of time in the books pretty strongly at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I do really like that notion of playing with the gods of Earth in a conflict with gods of space, or something along those lines, creating that, like, they're like, oh, not on my watch, Let's see. No matter how hard you worship Bowman, he needs more than one worshiper, Gray.
Hashtag blessed is the Bowman Brigade.
I like that.
The meek shall inherit, so I guess the Bowman Brigade aren't getting much.
Right.
This is the former high priest of the god of blockbuster movie rental seeks revenge for his fallen master.
Netflix will pay.
I mean, we're making fun, but that could be a really interesting, magical backdrop in your campaign where, gods are actually relatively common. It's just 99% of them are pathetically minor and weak. And they're just, bitter and hanging out in the background until the concept they're a god of just goes away entirely.
Eventually fades.
Or comes back.
Or comes back.
Yes.
Like the god of vinyl is on the rise right now.
Yeah, and then
that's right.
Maybe they still have their little petty god squabbles, and the god of blockbuster eventually took out the god of video rental in general and became the god of video rental.
That's right.
Or eventually they're coming into head-to-head conflict with the god of streaming.
Right. So that's right.
Or there's a god that's like the god of 90s nostalgia who's just devouring everything. All those lesser gods
voracious
their power.
The god of 90s kids. 90s kids remember.
Well, it's especially ironic that the god of video rentals created Netflix, and then that was their undoing.
Right. Just flew too close to the sun. I'm looking at this idea of the high priest of blockbuster. The idea that there would be just someone so furious about losing their god that they would go about destroying a really crucial aspect of our society because that particular god took over, and it's up to the heroes to stop. You don't really even need to have necessarily a god. You could just be fighting about the gods.
It's kind of fun to get yanked into the weird political machinations of the god of blockbuster trying to undermine the god of streaming so that it can usurp its position. The god of demand entertainment.
Rune, I'm so sorry. You have phenomenal comments, and then I end up missing them. But I do want to say that you mentioned that you enjoyed in City of Heroes that the invading villains were from an alternate Earth where the ancient gods were slain and rejected. Yeah, I actually had a hand in, I mean, not really. I mean, I was part of the community team and assisted with live events for City of Heroes.
Oh, I thought you were slaying ancient gods on an alternate Earth.
Had a little bit of a hand in slaying them ancient gods.
Well,
But
that's why
my
Troy's
apologies, my
disembodied.
friend.
His body
You
is too
certainly-
dangerous.
You are certainly not the god of ignored comments. I like that. Nostalgia is an overgod that's devouring everything is super poignant. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, superheroes have to stop the mindless abomination that is the god of nostalgia, just scooping up everything else.
Does that mean there's like a god of like cheap plastic garbage?
There was until the nostalgia god ate him.
Right. That's right.
Right.
Yeah. It was the Netflix reformation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
like that.
if you want to, you can take the cultural, comparative mythology thing about how gods have a tendency to, fuse into, sort of cultural combinations, and say in your setting that gods literally do devour one another, and that, it's this all out literal god eat god world, about who's going to have the most power.
I do like Rune mentions the idea of a god of superheroes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We pitched that idea a while ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see. There's a fun manga, Noragami, that means stray god, a god of calamity who is trying to be a delivery god as he doesn't like violence anymore. I like that.
Is that like the devil is a part-timer?
Mm.
Which
Is it
was
like the Devil Wears Prada?
Satan basically gets
Right.
a part-time job at a fast food joint.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember that.
Why does that sound? It sounds super. Is that a book?
Yep.
I like that.
From, 10 or 15 years ago?
Now, what does this mean? Alex essentially made Troy lore similar to Salem.
I said the
Or-
reason you're disembodied is because your body is too dangerous to exist in our realm.
That is right.
You had to leave it
Right.
behind in your god-slain universe before you come
Universe.
Too hot for Earth.
over. Troy couldn't
Yep.
get past the pact.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So I just had to squeeze through
See,
as a
the
mid.
system is working as intended.
I like it.
That's why Troy's now trying to find a worshiper here on Earth who will don his helmet.
And not one of you will. What would my helmet look
Full
like?
of gravy.
Yeah, I'm not putting-
Oh, it's
Yummy.
You're the Dr. Squatch I've heard so much about on the internet.
That's right. Do you smell that? It smells like country gravy. Be on alert.
I hope Dr. Fate kills you. That's
You can never kill gravy. Raymond mentions an Atlantean finds the stone of Pontus, the original ocean deity and father of all other ocean deities from Greek and Roman mythology, and gains the powers of an ocean god from the stone. Yeah, you got to contend with that.
Sure.
Let's see. Legion of Forgotten Gods. What a great idea. 8-track. I was just gonna mention that earlier when we were talking about vinyl. Crystal Pepsi.
I think I'm the only person in the world who actually liked Crystal Pepsi.
I just don't.
Was it because your name is
recall.
Crystal?
No, it's just why people kept buying it for me.
Mm.
Oh, that's. I was like, why? Oh, I get it.
Oh, so Aura mentions the notion of demigods too. That's a rich vein to mine for your setting as well. In terms of if one of the mythic gods is your parent or grandparent, and you want to do borrow the notion from like Rick Riordan's books of whole generations of half-blood gods.
Hear me out. A god comes to Earth, but is in an accident and killed, and proceeds to be an organ donor.
Oh.
So deific organs are spread around the city, and that's your super investigation event.
Interesting.
And all of those organs bring these people into conflict because they want to be in one body. They don't want to be separated
Holy
out.
smokes, that blows my mind. They're just drawn, compelled to be near each other with no real clue. That's is it covered in or filled with gravy? Yes. See, I already have one acolyte. RC.
If you want to get
We're
really
now-
bad, it would be like the worst version of Captain Planet, where they just like heart, kidney, lungs,
spleen, liver.
That's so great. Well, speaking of great things, it's 2:55. I don't know how that happened, but I do know how this happened. Take the look. Aztec, maybe? Bingo. That, of course, from our dear friend Stan. It's only 5 minutes left, and what we've done is we've spun everybody in the chat up. They're going to be all hopped up all day talking to their friends about gravy squash, and they're going to be like, "What?" And for that we do not apologize. But what do we got cooking? We've got some stuff going on this weekend. Alex, you're probably streaming. Crystal, you're probably doing something amazing.
No.
Steve, you're probably whatever you do to keep your youthful vigor and glow. But why don't we start with Alex? Go ahead.
Yeah, so tonight we are doing a special crossover for the destruction of Magnalore on our Untold Stories Project stream at twitch.tv/Untold Stories Project. I'll have 11 players.
Yikes.
So that'll be fun.
You're a braver man than I am, Alex.
Also, on Saturday, we've got our next Patreon actual play.
Yes, we do.
Which I will be GMing. The adventure is called Sleigh Ride, SLAY Ride, for our Christmas in July with our evil Santa Clauses.
I love it.
Santas.
Here comes Evil Claus. Here comes Evil Claus. Right down Evil Claus Lane.
So fantastic. And there are 3 of them, right?
There are 3 evil Santa Clauses.
That's right. Now we worked with our buddy Stan to bring those to life. I don't have any of the Santas at my fingertips, but they'll play a big role.
Yeah, it's gonna be a ton of fun. We'll be doing signups on the Patreon. I'm working on finishing the document to give to Troy to give to all of you, so you know what the deal is.
So what we'll end up doing, friends, is I will post some sign up stuff with a vague reference to the content. You will sign up, and who knows, you might be one of the Santas. Who can say? And then you've got Steve. What have you got cooking in Kensonland?
Well, Rune mentions, and thanks, Rune. I'm glad you're enjoying your Icons game. That there's a historic crossover over on my Patreon with the kind permission of Green Renine. I have done the Icons of Freedom and done an Icons superpowered role playing adaptation of the original Freedom League from the first edition of Freedom City in Icons as a PDF, and folks can check that over at patreon.com/Steve Kenson. Claude asks if we'll do any of the Icons iconics in M&M form. Might be a fun thing to do for the Patreon if folks are interested.
I wouldn't be setting up Saguaro.
Right. So, folks, if that's something you'd like to see on the Mutants and Masterminds Patreon, by all means, drop us a line at letsplay@greenronin.com. If there's an avalanche of interest for it, we can talk about doing that.
Like it. I've dropped a link to the Steve's Patreon, and I'll drop another link to ours, which is patreon.com/mutants masterminds, where there's a free PDF just hanging out. Crystal, what do you got cooking?
I will be at Right On Con this weekend.
Right on.
A writing convention. It is online only, so there is still time to sign up and attend some panels and do a ton of writing workshops.
Nice. What particularly are you doing in terms of panels or presentations, Crystal? You know?
I have it all written up, but I have been so busy I have lost track of it.
I hear it.
You will be. So this is a convention for writing and writers, yeah? And there is some, oh shoot, I just had it and I lost it, but I've dropped the link to the
The title of
right
Troy's
on.
autobiography.
That's right. That is literally, we're going to go to, oh, I lost it.
But I do need to get going. So
you do indeed. Hey friends, thanks everyone for hanging out with us. Don't forget to pick up Starhaven, get your print on demand over at Drive-Thru RPG. Pick up your PDF at the Green Ronin online store, $14.95. It's a lot of fun. It's really great stuff. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you, three. You are wonderful human beings, gods among men. And we shall see you all later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.